Hey guys, it's Thorin. I brushed my hair. It's kind of funny. I was just having a conversation with a friend this morning about sort of the disconnect between the fact that I spend so much time online and I have this kind of online platform, but at the same time I just don't seem to give a shit about a lot of things online. I'm not good at computers. I don't edit videos. Anyway, she's making fun of me because, you know, other people like worry about green screens and, oh, I could never do a YouTube channel because I have to edit videos. And I'm just like, nope, I just point my iPhone for it myself and maybe I brush my hair, but probably not. And then we just roll with it and I don't edit things and I hope it works out. It's been almost 10 years, so things seem to be going okay. But anyway, I was just laughing about that because I brushed my hair. So you're welcome, Amanda. Anyway, this video was inspired by a conversation that's happening on my Discord server right now through Patreon. And I thought it was something that was worth bringing up widely. I've written about this in blogs, I think. I hope I have. And I'm definitely writing about it in the book I'm writing right now. But I don't think I've made a video. So here's the video. This is about fucking up in your witchcraft practice and about that kind of like niggling feeling of, like, I think some of us have, that says that we're doing things wrong, or that, you know, our practice isn't valid or it's not correct because we're not super confident about it, or we must be screwing up, or our experiences surely can't be the norm, we have to be doing things wrong, or maybe we are just too worried about fucking something up to the point where we don't actually try things. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that hurdle because I think it's the biggest one that people face as beginners. No matter what kind of witchcraft you're talking about, it takes a lot, I think, internally to make that leap from reading a book and maybe engaging in social media spaces and then actually practice, like actually doing something about it, whether that means setting up an altar or doing a ritual or trying to build a connection with some kind of deity or spirit or something like that. I think that's one of the reasons why, honestly, I think it's one of the biggest reasons why we still fight about the validity of like solitaries versus coven work. Again, regardless of tradition, I think that sometimes people seek out covens because they're looking for somebody to give them permission to practice, or else to show them how to practice in a definitive way so that they don't have to struggle with fucking it up on their own. And I don't say that disparagingly because I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing when I was like 19, 20, 21 in college and just kind of exploring pagan groups for the first time. I think part of me was looking for somebody to kind of give me the manual or the instructions that would keep me from feeling like I was just doing something wrong. And in working with seekers myself and running a group, and also with just doing more casual things, like this is coming up right now because I'm running a beginner's book club, and right now we're reading a book specifically about Wicca, so we're talking about getting involved in Wicca and what that looks like. And that's like just in having interactions with people that casually who are looking to begin, I'm finding that that's still probably the biggest hang up, like even bigger than, you know, like the intellectual side of it, like where do I even start? There's so much to learn, is that leap into practice. So I wanted to come onto the internet with my freshly brushed hair and say that this is permission to fuck up. Like, the only way to really get the hang of something and to really have the sense that you're doing something right is to actually practice and actually do it. And you're gonna screw it up. Like, your first ritual is probably gonna suck, and it's gonna take a long time before you really feel like you're having any kind of, you know, definitive spiritual experience with other entities, gods, spirits, ancestors, whatever. And honestly, a lot of us never get there. A lot of us, maybe most of us, are put in a place where we're still constantly questioning, was this experience something that was objectively real, or was it just something that happened to me? I think those are ongoing questions that really don't go away for most practitioners. And you're not a deficient witch or a deficient magician for having those questions and those concerns. I think that puts you in the majority. So to me, just on a practical level, when I'm working with beginners or having these kinds of conversations, I stress, do the thing. Like, do whatever the thing is, however small the thing is, and do it right away. Like, do it the first book you read, your first inkling to try something, like, do it. If that means like botching a ritual that you've just like bastardized out of a book or off of the internet, or like trying a prayer or an incantation, or, you know, like even doing a spell or trying to cast a circle, or like whatever the fuck the thing is, like just do the thing. I think that sometimes there's this fear too, aside from like looking stupid or getting it wrong, we also tell newcomers that they're going to hurt themselves. Like, I understand, especially when it's about like working with a god or a spirit, there's this constant kind of admonition to like, be careful. Like, if you're going to reach out to so-and-so deity, you really have to be serious and do your research and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that that kind of concern isn't valid, but I think we have to be practical about it too. I think that that warning puts an awful lot of power on the person doing the thing, and most of the time those people don't actually have that power. Like, if I can pick up a random book on some ancient deity who has a reputation for being scary, and I can read an incantation aloud, and that deity will manifest and smite me, like, how powerful am I? You know, and I think that that's just not an experience that people really have overwhelmingly. You know, if you try a spell and you fuck it up or it doesn't work, like, usually the worst consequence is just that nothing happens. Sometimes, I mean, I think they're kind of urban legends, the way we spread around this idea that like, oh, so-and-so did the spell and they shouldn't have done it, and then X horrible thing happened to them. And that just hasn't been my experience, either with myself, and like, I've fucked around in a lot of shit that I probably shouldn't have in retrospect, but it's been my personal experience, and it's also been my experience like training people in a coven situation. Overwhelmingly, things just don't work, and that's the worst thing that can happen. You want to build a relationship with a deity that wants nothing to do with you? Okay, cool. Like, odds are nothing happens. They're probably not going to kill your family or set your car on fire or something. And sometimes on the internet, we talk like that's going to happen. And I think sometimes we spread those stories because, like, frankly, they make us look a little bit more badass if we're operating in those spaces. Like, oh, well, my goddess is really scary, and not just anybody can approach her because, you know, she means business and you really have to study and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, cool, like, maybe that's the case. But again, overwhelmingly, I think if we were collecting data, we would find that the worst thing that actually happens is nothing. Because people who don't have magical training right off the bat usually just don't have the capacity to make bad things happen, overwhelmingly. So, like, from a beginner's perspective, I think it's safe to kind of set those things down, you know, and just try the thing. Like, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it doesn't work for you, maybe it takes a long time, but I think sometimes when we get involved in witchcraft, we psych ourselves up, and what ends up happening is you read books for years and you never actually practice, and that defeats the purpose of what we're doing. So go do the thing. Like, you will feel silly probably, and it won't work probably, and it will be awkward. And, you know, like when I was 15, I set a bookcase on fire doing a spell. So, like, things happen, okay? But the only way to get better and to figure out what actually works and what's actually effective is to get out there and try stuff. And not worry about whether or not people on the internet think you're a real witch or are doing it right. I mean, obviously you want a sounding board, like you want to share your experiences to the extent that you feel comfortable and get feedback from people that you trust. The internet, of course, is a great resource, but if we spend all of our time trying to get, you know, validation and permission from other people, like, we're just never going to get it. So go do the thing, go screw up, go feel silly. I think that's how we get better. So that's all. I'm gonna get back to my exciting work from home office job with my coworker Jack the corn snake. But I hope you all are safe and healthy.